Caps lose 5-4 in overtime against the Florida Panthers.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
I'll keep using that reference until the Caps win an overtime game. Over 4 in overtime this season. There is a consistent pattern that has to be broken at some point in time. All it comes down to is a refusal for the Caps to adjust their play style and put the correct kind of players out on the ice when 3-on-3 overtime comes around. But we'll get to that in just a minute. First, take a trip down south and go ahead and click that like button for me. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're only 10 games into the season and I post a video after every single game, so that means 72 games left, which means 72 videos left, and you're gonna wanna catch all of them. Okay, so Caps played a really awkward game, and an awkward game is prefaced by an awkward situation with the goaltenders. Literally seconds before puck drop, Samsonov takes himself off the ice, and that's never a good thing. Normally it's the athletic trainers who are like, no, you can't play, but when a goaltender goes to the athletic trainer and says, I'm going off the ice to the locker room, something's up. So Vanacek's like, oh wait, I'm going in? Okay, I guess I'm going in. But then the Panthers score 3 minutes into the hockey game, and it was Samsonov they scored against. What sort of trickery was that? How did that happen? Are goaltenders allowed to change on the fly? I don't know, I didn't see Samsonov go back in, but he's back in there. And I'm pretty sure that was the first shot he faced after getting back in net. And surprisingly enough, he was not the only goaltender to give up a goal on his first shot of the game. So Vitek starts the game, even though Samsonov was supposed to, but then they Houdini it, and somehow Samsonov gets back in there without anyone realizing it, and the Panthers score. And what even is goaltender interference? I think it's ironic that in a game where we saw 4 different goaltenders, goaltender interference is the biggest controversy of the game. And while the Caps did benefit from a Florida goal being taken off the board because of goaltender interference, these first 2 goals by Florida, that's goaltender interference. Especially the second goal. The second goal pisses me off infinitely more because that is so blatantly goaltender interference. That play should never have gotten to the point where the shot that actually goes in was actually shot. I mean, Duclair is laying on top of Samsonov. He just runs him over, lays on top of him. Samsonov does stand back up, but he doesn't have time to get set again. I come back to my question. What even is goaltender interference? It's so subjective. How does anybody know what is and what isn't definitively goaltender interference? Yes, I know the rule was the goaltender prevented from doing his job. Well, if you ask me, he was prevented from doing his job. It's one thing for the Caps to lose because they played a bad game. I hate it so much when the Caps lose because of official intervention, or in this case, official non-intervention when there should have been. But at the end of the day, the Caps lost, and the Caps lost for a major reason in this game. The Caps actually outchanced the Florida Panthers in this game, and they won the faceoff dot. They went over 2 on the power play, but if you're not giving the Caps 4 chances on the power play, they're not gonna score, so we don't care about that. No, the reason the Caps lost this game is because, like going to last game, no one is willing to get up in the goalie's face and create havoc. Look at all these goals for the Panthers. Look at how many ended with our goaltender sitting on his ass or on his face. Either way, the Florida Panthers were playing playoff hockey. They were playing that nitty gritty, chippy, get to the crease and create chaos hockey. No goaltender is able to make a save when you got 7 dudes standing in front of you smacking at a puck. And if you get enough guys to the crease, when that puck finally rebounds out, you have an extra guy there to pick it up and smack it in, kind of like Barkov. And it's such a gray area, but we don't want to go back to the years when you weren't even allowed to play the puck at all if you were touching the blue paint. I mean, let's go back to the Stanley Cup Finals of '99. Buffalo Sabres, Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars win the Stanley Cup, and Lindy Ruff, the head coach of the Sabres at the time, ends the entire summer with 2 words.
No goal.
All that controversy came from a ruling about playing the puck in the crease, and when they removed that rule, look, we still have controversy. And I'm just yelling for the sake of yelling. I don't know what the solution is. I don't have an answer for you. I just know that it pissed me off this game. But switching gears a little bit here, the Caps were able to come back and make this a game. Down 4-1, you got 3 straight goals, and They almost won it in regulation with a couple great chances while it was 4-4. And it all starts with none other than our Capitan, the great 8 Alexander Ovechkin, with his 740th goal of his career. One more to tie 4th place, 2 more for sole possession. Connor McMichael gets his first NHL goal. And Daniel Sprong, great pass by Manthan to catch him in stride on a breakaway from center ice. And then not long after that, he goes spino, dangle between the legs, almost scores again. Talk about speed and talk about creativity. Keep that in mind, it'll come into play later in the video. And then in our dire time of need, we needed 1 goal to tie it up. Tom Wilson is the one willing to get in front of the goaltender. He deflects the puck in. It's a brand new game. And then, spoiler alert, the Caps lose in overtime. But the reason they lost in overtime is because the Caps' refusal to adapt to the 3-on-3 overtime play. Stop me if you've heard this one before. So look, 3-on-3 overtime is all about possession. It is all about speed. It is all about creativity. Who did I just say has a lot of speed and a lot of creativity? Daniel Sprong. That dude knows how to play in open ice. Throw him out there for overtime. Kuznetsov started this overtime, and he should start every single overtime if Backstrom is not there. And then it comes down to the third guy decision. Who do you put out there as your third guy? Do you want a defender out there? Okay, I understand you do. You got 2 forwards. You want 1 guy who can skate backwards and defend. That's cool. Who do you put out there? Don't you dare say John Carlson. If you say John Carlson, I'm coming to your house with a bar of soap. 74 is not an overtime defender. 74 is a great defensive player, but not in overtime. He's not the defender you put out there. In my mind, if you're gonna pick a defender, you have 2 guys to choose from, Orlov and Jensen. I understand the decision to put Wilson and Carlson out there with Kuznetsov in overtime. It's a reward. It's a reward for the guys who are the ones getting the game-tying goal. Carlson shot, Wilson deflection. They're the guys that created that. So you put them out there as a reward, but you know what? If we're rewarding guys for their gameplay, you know who would be a good guy to reward? A guy with 3 points in this game. You know who had 3 points in this game? Alexander Ovechkin. You know, the guy who just scored his 740th career goal. You know, your captain. You know, the greatest goal scorer of all time. And why, yes, I am using the of all time superlative already, because to do what he's done in this generation of hockey, you're the greatest goal scorer of all time. And it doesn't make sense. The Caps have skill, they have talent, they have guys with finesse. Why are they not able to win in overtime? I mean, and it's consistent too, because go back to last season, I said it in a previous video, the Caps lost every single overtime, including a double overtime against the Boston Bruins in the playoffs last year. Something is consistently wrong, and you need a coach who can recognize it and do something to change it. Don't get me wrong, I love Peter Laviolette. I think he's done an infinitely better job actually coaching than Todd Reirden did before him. I mean, look at those goaltender interference calls at the beginning of the game. Peter Laviolette was livid, and he had a long conversation with the refs at one point about it. If that was still Todd Reirden behind the bench, he would have just sat there with a confused look on his face like he didn't know what the hell was going on. The Caps have lost every single overtime this season. That's 4 points that they've left on the table that they have not gained in the standings due to overtime losses. That's through just 10 games. 4 points through 10 games. That means for 80 games, 8 times 4, that's 36 points you won't accumulate if you keep your average throughout the entire season. That is the difference between a playoff spot and not a playoff spot. That is the difference between playing in May and June and not playing in May and June. But I don't know anything. I'm just a fan yelling into a camera because he thinks he knows things and because it makes him feel better after the Caps lose. All I can hope for is that the Caps are able to revamp their 3-on-3 mentality and that they can play better against Philadelphia on Saturday. Thanks for joining me on this episode. If you like the video, please smash that like button. It does a great job at promoting the channel and recommending content to other Caps fans who might enjoy it. And if you enjoyed your time here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to see you come back. We got 72 more games to cover. And as always, Caps fans, let's go Caps!